Welcome back to another episode of Franchise Nutrition and Fitness Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm a registered dietitian.
And I'm Matt. I'm a certified personal trainer and health coach.
And together we are Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. You can find us over at franchisenutritionandfitness.com. When you're over there, just go ahead and click on the link to get down to the Let's Get Started and sign up for your free meet and greet today. Otherwise, you can travel a little bit further down the page and send us a message. Whether you have questions or comments about this podcast or any of the previous podcasts, let us know. What other things we say in the beginning there, Matt?
I think that's pretty much it. If you haven't checked out previous podcasts, check them out on all the other platforms. If they're not on a platform that you enjoy or that your friends enjoy, let us know. Reach out to us. We are happy to reach out to whomever we can and make sure that we have a wide range of platforms that we're available. And newly, thanks to Ryan, I know you can now see us visually with a lot of our podcasts, including on Spotify, which I actually checked out last week when you did that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Soon to be, we'll be on some other platforms that we're not currently really active on. But you'll see it and we'll let you all know, of course, here when that happens.
So like MySpace and like when you search us and Ask Jeeves. And sweet. All right, cool.
Also AIM. We're getting back. We're going to bring back AOL Instant Messenger. We're going to bring it back. It's going to be really awesome.
We're going to do 10-second tout videos. It's going to be great.
So like the Twitter expanded its character limit, whatever time ago, but we needed more characters in a message. So we're going back to AIM. It's really long and then fun. We'll be back later status.
Well, and we'll ask you age, sex, location when you send us a message.
Or you can go ahead and fill it out when you sign up.
Yeah, just go ahead. That would help us out. We'll make it slightly less awkward.
But something we were talking about a few different times. I don't know. We haven't really mentioned it directly on the podcast or through specific posts or anything like that we've made on the various social media sites, but a thing that's very common and I feel like becoming more and more common are trackers for people's nutrition and fitness.
Absolutely. Whether it be, trackers that you wear. I love my new Apple Watch. I was a Fitbit guy for a long time. And then, of course, like tracking apps, anything from MyFitnessPal to Lose It to a million other ways to track your caloric intake. And the thing with trackers is there's plenty of positives and there's a lot of negatives. I think a lot of negatives that people don't realize. So that's what we're going to tackle today on today's episode.
Yeah. Speaking of one positive, I read this story maybe a week ago. Today is October 4th. That's the day we're recording this podcast. But maybe it was last week or the week before, but someone in another country was using an Apple Watch and they quoted it as saying that it saved their life. Like it kept showing up all these irregularities in their heartbeat. And they thought it was a defect in the watch, and they went back to like an Apple store, and it wasn't the watch; it was their heart was like screwing up.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff, especially with I have the SE or whatever. I don't have the newest, latest, greatest one, but with the latest update, there's all kinds of things with heart rate. I can tell if I'm ovulating or not. Like it's pretty great.
How often do you ovulate? At least once a month.
That's a HIPAA violation for you to ask me that.
Hey, if you feel like it, you could, I guess. It is 2022 after all. But anyways, I don't use a fitness tracker. I am really old school in that, I guess. I haven't bought into any of the fitness trackers. Not that I have anything against them. It's all tools in the toolbox. It's kind of like you frequently talk about the scale. That's a tool for you to use to help you reach your goal. But as far as fitness trackers, I use a stopwatch or a timer on my personal wristwatch, and I write things in a logbook.
I'm a big fan of the logbook as well. I keep my logbook for strength training. It's funny. I have trackers. I'll track in MyFitnessPal. I'll track a million other ways. But at the end of the day, my favorite thing is to pull that notebook out. It's always tattered and worn. Just toss it around the gym every morning. But yeah, like you said, it's a tool. It's whatever you get out of it. It's not some magic thing. It's all going to help you reach your fitness goals, especially if you don't know what your goal is. Which I think a lot of people they get the watch or get the tracker and it's like, all right, now all of a sudden I'm ready to be fit. It's like, okay, what do you want to get out of it? For me, like I use a lot of the bare bones stuff with the Apple Watch or with a Fitbit in the past. Like to me, it's a great thing that if I'm not feeling like getting a little bit in, like I'm a little bit obsessive about seeing rings closed or reaching a goal, so setting that goal on there and going, okay, like let's set my caloric expenditure from workouts today to 700 calories and only at 550, I guess I need to go for a walk, like it's only motivating if that's motivating to you. But the issue with a lot of trackers is they overestimate. Even back in the day, I can always remember just even stepping on the treadmill, stepping on the elliptical, and seeing the amount of calories that you burned, thinking, I don't think that's right. That can't be correct. And the fun thing with those back in the day when we only had the trackers were the polar heart rate monitors, where you had to wear the strap. And you had back when we were in college, and that was cool new technology.
Awesome. I love that. I had a professor, his name was Dr. Hargrove, and he taught us the undergraduate class that he taught was macronutrients. But he taught graduate level micronutrients. A very interesting guy, but you could check out a polar tracker and watch for up to a week at a time. And if you wanted to take it longer, you just had to go back to his office and like recheck it out.
Yeah, I worked for the as did you later on for the University of Georgia personal training team for at the Ramsey Student Center. And yeah, we had a couple of different ones. I thought it was like the coolest, niftiest thing. And what I always thought was fun with that was that if you're on a treadmill and you've got the heart rate monitor on, and I'm on a treadmill right next to you and I don't have one on, a lot of times they would pick up on your heart rate monitor. So I'd be like, oh, I'm just walking and it's saying my heart rate's 160 beats per minute. What the hell's going on? It's like, oh, it's picking up on Ryan's heart rate monitor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, those are always funny, especially when you're training clients and suddenly like your heart rate's through the roof. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's my client. Hey, you should probably slow down. I feel like you're not feeling good.
Like, what's going on?
Heart rate's a little high if this indicator is correct. But that's kind of what we're talking about with the irregularities, with overestimates and possibly even sometimes underestimates. Matt, what would you consider if you could do anything, right? Like scientifically anything, what would be the gold standard for tracking fitness and energy expenditure?
I mean, like right now, as far as like purchasable trackers.
No. I mean anything.
Oh,
beyond. Like what's like the big thing?
I mean, it's hydrostatic underwater weighing index for body fat percentage. I can stick those in there.
And then
I can just keep those in my
VO2 max and direct muscle probe or core samples of muscle.
Right, exactly. Do a muscle biopsy. That's totally something everybody can do.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's where fitness trackers come in to help. Like you can't walk. You're not going to walk around with a VO2 mask and a giant metabolic cart next to you to determine how many calories you're actually expending while you move. And I will say
they use a lot of estimates and a lot of equations to give it. It's a guesstimate at best case scenario. I was reading some research earlier in preparation for this that Fitbits can overestimate caloric expenditure during walking by up to 50%.
Wow,
which is insane.
Massive, especially for such a low level activity.
Right, but they're more accurate with running. Like it's within like 4% with running. So I can spit all the research you want at you, but I'm a big fan of like anecdotal evidence, having been a Fitbit and an Apple Watch guy. With my Fitbit, I would track my strength training, do a 45-minute to an hour strength training routine every morning. Sometimes it would say I expended 600-700 calories with my strength training workout. I work out pretty intensely. There's no damn way. Like with not doing like any sort of hit workout, anything, like I'm doing straight like that bodybuilding style sets, 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps with rest in between. There's no way. The Apple Watch seems to be a little bit more accurate with it, where it's like will tell me like 300 calories for the same workout. Same thing again with like hopping on the treadmill or the elliptical. People always say, "Oh, burned 500 calories." Probably not. A lot of times I overestimate. And my favorite thing talking to people is they're like, "Hey, I wore my Apple Watch and I looked at the treadmill. The treadmill said I burned 500 calories, but the Apple Watch said I only burned 300. So like, there's got to be something wrong with my Apple Watch." People always assume that the higher number is the correct one,
Right.
which is usually not the case.
Yeah, you want it to do with calorie expenditure, but one thing my gripe with strength training and fitness trackers is it's nearly impossible to get that right. There's so
Absolutely.
many factors that go into how
Absolutely.
you are doing when you lift weights. Even in those kind of studies that we mentioned before with the VO2 max mask and muscle probes and biopsy cores, they don't even talk about calories expended in those things because it wouldn't help because it's so
Right.
variable. It's
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times the end goal of strength training is not, caloric expenditure during the actual activity anyway. Like we're doing it to build muscle, to raise our, resting metabolic rate, to, all kinds of other fun stuff and the recovery afterwards, but not, hey, like I'm in here literally busting my ass in the gym strength training to go, hey, I burned 300 calories. Usually not the case.
Right. Yeah. A lot of those things are looking at muscle protein synthesis or muscle protein degradation, depending on what the lift is, age parameters, and all of those things. So when it comes to a fitness tracker for your weight training workouts, I think they're really kind of like a null.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's just like a little like again a guesstimate. It's something to go, okay, maybe burned a few hundred calories here, but it's not like, oh, I burned a few hundred calories doing my strength workout. That means I have this allotment to be able to go eat more if I'm on some sort of weight loss program. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah. Hey man, it is the beginning of Squattober. So if you did a bunch of squats, maybe you could burn 300 calories. Maybe. This is really heavy and really hard, like strenuous for you. You need to take a lot of rest.
I'll take Squattober over Sobertober. That sounds more like more fun. So
Yeah, that second one you mentioned, it sounds terrible. I would
yeah,
just go back and listen to our podcast on alcohol. Like I literally cracked a beer open into the microphone. So, but as far as like other physical activities, cardiovascular activities, I think they do a pretty good job of giving you a precise measurement, not an accurate measurement, but precision over time.
Absolutely.
So like I think we've talked about that before. That's a quick thing. There's a difference between precise and accuracy. What would you say that is, Matt?
So, yeah, the precision is if it's going to be, so say where I just gave the example, it's 200 calories off. If it's always 200 calories off, at least it's precise. At least I'm getting that same thing, but it's not accurate. Whereas, yeah, for the accuracy, we want it closer to what we're actually expending. And the issue with that is if I believe that I'm burning 200 additional calories every day. And so then I put that into my diet and I'm like, I have 200 more calories to play with. Then I wonder why I'm not reaching my weight loss goal or I'm not reaching my maintenance goal or why I'm gaining weight. And it's like, oh, because I'm not having an actual accurate measurement of my caloric expenditure.
Right. Yeah. Or an accurate measure of your intake. That seems to be the biggest thing that people have there. That's, oh, this thing doesn't count because I only had a bite of it. Like that bite still counts.
Right.
So you should track every single bite out there. Right? That gets nutty. But one of the things you got to think about when it comes to your portion sizes is that a lot of people, including myself, sometimes like misnumber. That's a bad term. Like you miss the volume that you're actually consuming. Like you think that you consumed 1 cup of something, but it's actually 1.5 cups. Like that ends up being more.
Yeah, unless you're one of the, you're prepping for a contest or something, you're one of those crazy people that measures everything out. Yeah, it's very easy to mismeasure. If you ever just want to have like a little fun game, I've done this occasionally. Like I poured like myself a bowl of cereal and then actually poured it into a measuring cup afterwards and seeing if it was, hey, actually the serving size, if it was a cup. And oftentimes, even if I think I'm spot on, it's like, okay, maybe it was a cup and a quarter. But
Yeah.
I didn't track in my fitness pal. I had a cup and a quarter. I tracked 1 cup. And so if I have 7 bowls of cereal in a week, what's that? I have almost 2 additional cups of cereal that I didn't even think about.
Yeah. And I have a similar thing with the measuring cup, but I'm even nuttier and I put mine on a food scale.
There
So
you go.
a little bit more ridiculous. Like we're gonna get this down to the gram. Let's see what's in here. Um, but as far as nutrition trackers, so there are a lot of different various nutrition trackers out there. What's the your favorite one to use, Matt?
I like my fitness pal if I know what I'm doing with it. And that's why I always kind of give that as a little prerequisite to anybody I tell, like, hey, I love my fitness pal. The issue you have with my fitness pal on top of everything you're about to go over, I'm sure, is that the information there's crowdsourced,
Mhm.
which is fun because you can put in like chocolate cake. And then somebody wanted to cheat one day and they said that chocolate cake they had somehow had 10 calories and no carbs and no sugar. And it's like, oh, sweet. I just ate a whole chocolate cake, 10 calories. Awesome. And then it's not really an accurate measurement of that 2,000 calories worth of chocolate cake I just had.
Yeah, I don't think it's available anymore. I mean, I want to say that it's gone, but the my pyramid, I think I want to say they shuffled that off, but there's a USDA food database
Oh,
that it drew everything from, and some of those same values are still in my Fitness Pal. Uh, but that was often the easiest way to measure something off. That was like um, the data that they use to calculate that either comes from a manufacturer or from actual physical science testing.
yeah, there still are. They've made it a little bit easier to detect now. There's like verified stuff, just like on Twitter. Like there's verified items on my Fitness Pal that will have the
Right.
little green check mark. It's like, okay, this is actual, like, no BS that Matt just didn't stick it in here that he thought his 12 beers were 0 calories. Like,
Okay. But however, that is where it still is incorrect sometimes. There's so many times when you're gonna find a verified food that actually isn't going to be that food. Like I've done it before where
uh,
I selected the verified food, brand specific, volume specific, and it still was either a smaller or a higher number. And I'm not sure how that ended up getting verified because I was sitting there staring at the facts label and it should be a different number.
well, like I've seen, like when they will update products periodically too, which is always fun. Like for instance, like a Nutrigrain bar at one point was 120 calories and now it's 140. So it's like, all right, got to go back in there and those Nutrigrain bars I have once a day. I need to
Yeah.
change up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like a lot of times you'll get used to a certain food product and it'll change on the shelves. We've seen that definitely over the last 3 years with the changes here in America with inflation and those kind of things. Like with yogurt. So that's a good example. Yogurt specific individual serving container used to be around 6 to 8 ounces. And depending on the brand, right? 6 ounces to 8 ounces. And a particular brand went from 8 ounces a few years ago, back in, I want to say it was like 2016, it was 8 ounces, and now it's 5.5. But it sells for the same price. The nutrition's different on it because it's a smaller number. But if you're used to saying that I got one of these and I ate all of it, and if you use my Fitness Pal, if you type it in, it'll bring up your historical data that you've used before. And so, um, for the example of the yogurt, when I did it, it pulled up the data from years ago, and it said that this particular yogurt should have 10 grams of protein in it. I think is what it was, and it actually only had 8, but it was trying to record it as 10, which I realize doesn't seem like a lot. But when that happens over the course of a day, that can end up being, close to 30 or 40 grams of protein in a whole day.
Right. Yeah. Like if every product you have that you're entering in, yes, 2 grams short, like, yeah, easy. You jogged my memory of the story. You didn't mention the brand of yogurt, so I won't mention the brand of ice cream because clearly we're going to be trying to get an ice cream sponsorship for this podcast and our business.
Oh, definitely. I have my personal favorite, and man, I would totally take ice cream or money, whatever you guys
There you
want.
go. Just throw it at me. But I know that there, like, it was made maybe early 2000s. There was an ice cream company that people would look at the labels and like, hey, this ice cream has like less sugar, less calories, everything. Like everything ice cream is like the ice cream's quote healthier. No, it's because they were putting the serving sizes like half the size of like what anybody else was. Like if you were like half a cup versus a cup, it's like, oh geez, it's got half the calories. Yeah, because it's not real. Like who's eating half a cup of ice cream, you know?
Yeah. Nobody that I know. That's less. If you are a typical American and you use a regular ice cream scooper that many of us have, and you just went across you scoop just straight across the longer dimension of the ice cream box, you're going to end up with greater than half of a cup in that single scoop. Like you just
Easy, yeah.
it's not hard. It's not hard. But again, a precision tool. So I do like my Fitness Pal for the precision of it. You know, it's a measurement that's consistent enough that if I recorded everything in my Fitness Pal that I ate for 3 days, um, and that would be a good estimate of what I've been consuming and expending calorically there for that 3 days. Whereas if I took my Fitness Pal and I try to go to a different platform, whatever it is, then I might end up with different numbers. And so then my precision is off because I'm using a different tool for that to achieve that same goal. So I don't have anything against my Fitness Pal. Like I said, I enjoy it. And it's also great for all of you out there connecting with us. If you go to franchisenutritionandfitness.com, you sign up for your free meet and greet. We'll ask you for your My Fitness Pal name. It's an easy way to make sure that we can both see kind of the things that you've been eating and help you guide you along your way to whatever health journey and health goal that you have. But there are other trackers that are out there that are available. And all of them though have the issue of if you say you want to lose weight or gain weight, they use a specific formula. But the problem is that it'll say, are you lightly active or very active? And the issue is that formula they're using, when you plug in the activity factor, is more than two numbers. Like it's not, we have very low, like completely sedentary or hospitalized in a bed, basically in a sedated coma, all the way up to like Olympic athlete. And it's not, you can't say that that person in a coma is lightly active and that Olympic athlete is very active. Like those activity factors are way different for those people. So oftentimes my Fitness Pal underestimates the amount of calories that you have to expend in a day.
Yep. Yeah. You'll get in there, and yeah, if you have your activity tracker connected to it, because say you set your goal to 2,000 calories a day, it was like, hey, like my Apple Watch just said I burned 800 calories during this workout. I have 800 extra calories to play with. It's like that's not necessarily the case. Plus, you add in the fact, like you said, that people have a tendency to underestimate how much they're actually eating. So I have all that working against me, and then I wonder, okay, if I'm on a weight loss program, why am I not losing weight?
Yeah, those are all good questions. And I think that's really where we come into play as Franchise Nutrition and Fitness, is by providing that support and accountability to what you're doing with your nutrition and fitness goals and how that's related to your overall health. Because we can help show you ways to incorporate more volume of food at a low calorie expenditure. Of course, we can also show you how to incorporate more food at a higher calorie expenditure. You know, it's kind of up to you. So what your goals are. That's what
Yeah,
we're
just depending. You want to bulk up, you want to lean down. I know we talked about previous episodes, bulking season right now. Like, yeah, you want to bulk up, be all ready and nice and jacked for the winter, or if you want to go ahead and start leaning down, let us know. We can develop programs for either and everything in between.
Yeah. What temperature was it there when you woke up this morning?
When I woke up, I don't know. It was cold. I threw a hoodie on to go to the gym this morning. I think it's currently kind of warm. It's like 70 right now, I believe.
Yeah, it was 52 degrees here this morning when we got up. I saw it on the measurement, and it's like 70 something now. But
If people just tune into like the end of this podcast, they're gonna think it's like just two like 80-year-old guys talking just about
yeah,
the weather.
well, this is where it comes important. So tonight in Miami, Florida, it should be perfect baseball weather, and the Braves should be able to take down the Miami Marlins.
And the great thing about Miami, they do have a retractable roof, so like even if it wasn't perfect weather, it'd be fine. So
And it's partly cloudy and 81 degrees out there right now.
you're gonna make me fly down to Miami right now.
The overnight low in Miami is 72 tonight. So, I mean, that's a perfect. I mean, it's probably got a reasonable amount of humidity, but the Braves, as many of you that
You make me want to fly down to Miami right now because it'd be great. They clinched the division, and I'm in Miami. I will track the number of calories I drink from alcohol as I'm partying out, and then I will also track my bank account dwindling down from buying drinks in Miami.
yeah, drinks, flight back.
So I think the flight would actually be cheaper than drinking in Miami.
Probably, and yeah. But if you're one of those people that are like us that enjoys watching the Braves and sports in general, and having all the fun foods that go along with your sports watching, and you have specific nutrition or fitness goals, head on over to franchisenutritionandfitness.com. Sign up for your free meet and greet today. We can help incorporate all those fun sporting events into your life as far as your nutrition and fitness are concerned, so you can still meet your goals and enjoy all the fun that comes with watching sports, especially the coming up fall classic. So
indeed, and hopefully having a little bit more fun than the anxiety-inducing Georgia versus Missouri this past Saturday.
and the comedy in there is that we were sitting downstairs, and my sister-in-law is a UGA alumni, my wife's a UGA alumni, and they're both saying, "Oh, we're gonna lose, and I was like, "We're gonna go down the rankings, but we're not gonna lose." And who was right? It was me.
So my favorite thing is explaining how college football rankings work and college football schedules work to somebody who knows nothing about college football. I was doing that this past weekend.
Yeah, well,
you realize how difficult of an explanation it is when you're like, nobody has any prior knowledge.
Yeah. I will say this is where it gets really confusing for me. The AP rankings came out for this week, and Alabama got 25 first place votes. They're ranked number 1. UGA, ranked number 2, got 28 first place votes. So how is it that we got more first place votes but are ranked number 2 in this poll? Like literally more people think that we should be number 1 than the current number 1. But either way, I'd much rather be number 2 than number 1 in football rankings at this point in the season, because less people are trying to upset your season.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's bad mojo all around. It seems like to be number 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, good time to be number 1 in baseball as you're heading into the playoffs right now in October. Bad time to be number 1 in October for college football. So it's my favorite time of year to watch a lot of sports, go crank out a workout Saturday morning, and then boom, enjoy everything else throughout the day.
Yeah. Just like it is with Georgia, it's bad if that's a noon game. Like, But either way, for all you out there listening to us here on the Franchise Nutrition and Fitness podcast, please go back and listen to some of the other episodes. If you've missed any of them, share this podcast with all your friends. Head on over to franchisenutritionandfitness.com and sign up for your free meet and greet. Like we say every week, maximize every bite.
Maximize every rep.